Hey everybody, welcome back to our next session in math. It's our last session before we take our test on Monday. Remember, you're going to have your test on Monday no matter if you're at home, at school, no matter what. Everyone's test is on Monday. We hope you had a great day off. We really miss seeing you guys, but we'll see you on Monday. We can't wait. And have a great weekend. So here you go for your math tasks today. First, you're going to check pages 68 and 69 from yesterday. So make sure you have your student book out, ready to go. You're going to then watch the next lesson. And again, these slides are in our Google Classroom under Library Books Problems Student Slides. Then you'll do student book pages, that should say pages, 71 and 72, and take a pic of your work and turn it in. You must then smile and stretch and find Bob. Then optional choices you have are another student book, page 73, First in Math, or Unit 2, Workplaces, or just go have fun and be with your family. So here we go. Task number 1, check your work. Grab your student book, please, and turn to pages 68 and 69 from yesterday, and let's check out your work. Check your answers now, then move on to the next lesson. So pause the video now and check these answers. Here's page 68. This is just the graph. So pause now and check to see if you have your label here that says genre and all of the genres written out. And then you have on the side here your books checked out, multiples of 4 going up to 36. Note right here where it has fantasy and fiction and graphic novels and science, they're not right on a line. So make sure it's shaded in like that. Then you have page 68. You had to do numbers 1 through 4. Take a look here. You can pause the video. And if you didn't get all of them right, that's okay. We're going to move on to our next lesson, library book problems. So we're going to watch this and listen to this lesson. You'll need your student book out still because you will have to open up to pages 71 and 72. We're going to go get started. So we're going to take a look at those pages right about here. Has anybody seen Bob? I haven't seen him yet, but hopefully he shows up and helps us out again today. So Mr. Jackson is the librarian at Woodlawn Elementary School. He loves to learn about what his students are interested in and like to read so that he can get new books for the library. So here's problem number 1 on page 71. Mr. Jackson got some new books for the library, all of which are the same size. He wants to display them for the students and teachers. He put the same number of books on each shelf as you can see here in the picture. How many books are displayed on the shelves in all? Show your work. It's important when you do this that you write out an equation and don't forget to, let me get my highlighter here. Where is that special highlighter? Label. Oh, it didn't work. That's okay. I thought it would be like highlight, label, but no, it's not, and that's okay. So you can draw it out. You can just write an equation. Think about arrays. The shelf is basically an array. And don't forget to label for number 1. Pause right now and give it a whirl. And we're going to go on to number 2 now on page 71. The students at Woodlawn love fantasy fiction. So Mr. Jackson ordered some popular series of fantasy books. There are 7 books in the series by one of the most popular fantasy authors. Mr. Jackson decided to buy 4 sets of that series for the library. The students liked those books so much that Mr. Jackson bought 4 sets of another series that includes 5 books. How many new fantasy books did Mr. Jackson buy in all? Oh my gosh, that's a lot of words in that word problem. So I know I'm not just going to read a word problem just one time. I'm going to read it again and maybe even again. And when in doubt, draw it out. So right now I'm picturing in my head that there are 7 books in the series, okay? And he bought 4 sets of that series. Okay, so that's one part that I know. And then, Mr. Jackson bought 4 sets of another series that has 5 books. Okay, so I have one set here in red and another set of 5 books here in blue. I then need to know how many fantasy books did he buy in all. So think about this equation here in red, and then this what this equation here in blue would be. And then, I wonder what I'm going to have to do to figure out what I would do to figure out in all. That's a clue there. But these might mean something else, and I'm drawing them in right now to give you a clue. So you're actually going to have a couple different equations here, or a picture, or words. But we definitely want to see a final equation with a label. Please get in the habit of labeling your work. Your label should be fantasy books. And it should be spelled correctly because it's right there. So go ahead and try number 2 now. Show all that work. You can rewind me, pause me, whatever you want. Don't you wish you guys could do that in class sometimes? Just kidding. Here we go. We're going to move on now to problem number 3, which is also on page 71. So I'm going to read it again. You might need to read it a few times, so you might need to rewind me, pause me, whatever you want. The students at Woodlawn love science. Wow, I love it. So Mr. Jackson bought a set of science books for them that included 10 different books. 5 of the books were 3 inches thick, 3 were 2 inches thick, and 2 were 1 inch thick. How much space will he need to keep them together on the shelf? Show your work. So we know if we're dealing about space, we're dealing with inches. So that's going to be our label. We need to figure out how much space he's going to need to keep them together. And yikes, this is one I'm going to read again. And I think I'm going to draw this one out so I can picture what it is exactly they're asking me to do. So let's go back here. We know that there's a set of science books that included 10 different books. 5 of the books were 3 inches thick. So I'm just going to do 3 here as 3 inches thick, but I'm going to do 5 threes. And the reason I'm doing 5 threes is because I know 5 of the books were 3 inches. So this is really a book. That's a book, that's a book, that's a book, that's a book. So I know this is a group of, 5. This is going to give you a clue on how to get started on this problem. Because I'm not done yet. I now need to figure out, there are 3 books that are 2 inches thick. So 3 books, 2 inches thick. So I'm just going to put 3 2s here. Okay. So I have 3 books that were 2 inches. 3 groups of 2. There's another clue there for you. And then I had 2 books that were 1 inch thick. So I'm just going to put 1 inch thick book there and a 1 inch thick book there. So I'm going to have 3 different equations now. Holy cow. To figure out how much space I'm going to need. But once I figure out the answers to this equation, and this equation, I need to do something. I need to figure out how much space there is all together. So not only am I going to have to use some multiplication, I'm going to have to add all of the products up. Shh, don't tell anybody I just told you that. So you don't have to do this because I'm sure your work is going to be a lot neater than mine using this mouse and pen, but you could do something like this. But if you think of it in a different way too, we would love to see that because my brain doesn't always think as well as these 3rd grade brains of yours. You guys have a really good math number sense in this class, so let's see it. Show that work. Show it a different way. Be like, yo, Miss Burdette, I solved it this way. Check it out. So go ahead and do problem 3 now. Because we only have one more page left to do. Bob! There's Bob! Oh, thank goodness Bob can help us with this chart. I think he likes charts. That's why he showed up on this page. All right, Bob, tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, well, the PTA, that's like our PTO here. It's called the Parent Teacher Association or organization. It had a fundraiser and they gave some of the money.
Bob, wait a second. What page are you on here in our student book? Oh, you're on page 72. You got to turn the page now. You're on page 72. So, Bob, can you read that again for us?
Sure. Okay. The PTA had a fundraiser and they gave some of the money they raised to Mr. Jackson to buy even more books for the library. Mr. Jackson asked some of the teachers to help him decide what to buy, and they listed the following books. So we have another chart here, guys. I wonder if Mrs. Adams would like any of these books. Oh, well, and Miss Blumenthal, I'm sure would. So we have the book names here: The Mystery of the Purple Python, A Trip to Mars, The Haunted School Gym, ooh, Mrs. McGill, look out, The Great Book of Food Jokes.
So we have the cost per book here. This book costs $6. This one costs $7, $5, and $4 for the rest of the books. And here in the last column,
thank you, Bob. Oh, I'm thanking myself.
The number to buy was 3, 4, 4, and 6. Thank you so much, Bob. So I'm going to read now what we have to do using this chart.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Burdett.
All right, here we go, children. Follow along, number 4 on page 72. After Mr. Jackson figured out how much those books would cost, he saw that he had $85 left to spend. So how much money did the PTA give him to start with? Show your work. Okay, so I know that he had $85 left to spend. So the nice PTO there, just like ours, gave us some money here to buy these books. So we want to know, how much money did the PTA give him to start with? So, I wonder what we're going to have to do. This is going to involve quite a bit of equations, but I think you could do it, and I'm going to give you a clue right here.
Don't do it, Miss Burdett. Don't give him a clue.
What, Bob? Of course I'm going to give him some help. That's what I do.
Okay, fine.
All right, so what you're going to have to do is figure out how much The Mystery of the Purple Python books would cost. 6 times 3 I could do. A Trip to Mars. How much would they cost? So I can actually multiply all of these to figure out part of the problem, because this is kind of like a 2-step problem. We need to, again, figure out how much money the PTO gave him to start. So we're going to get this information here, solve it, add them all up, those products. But then don't forget, he still had $85 left over. So this information plus that $85 left over is going to help you figure out how much money the PTO gave him to start with. Again, don't forget to label, and you can just do the S with the line through it to show the money sign for your label. You give it away again. Bob, was that okay?
Okay, sure.
All right, we are going to do our last problem then for math today. And it's number 5 on page 72. And this is where you get to be creative and write your own story problem about this picture. So you're going to solve this problem. You don't have to do it in your journal. You can actually do it right in your student book there. And then you're going to trade problems with a classmate. Obviously, we can't do that now, but we can do that next week and share some of our stories with our classmates. You can add more information like titles, authors, names, and prices to the picture to use in your story problem. So be creative here. You could think about the librarian. You could think about whatever you want to do with this problem. I'm going to leave it there. If you have no idea what to do on number 5, that's okay. Skip it. Still turn all your work in. We want to see what you do. And if you want to just go outside then and play or whatever, that's fine too. So go ahead. Good luck. If you want to do some more work, you have optional activities that we listed as well. And I think that is it. Thanks to you all for hanging in there with me today. And Bob, of course. And holler if you need us. Send us an email. We'll help you. Don't forget, your math test is going to be on Monday. Take a look in Google Classroom for the study guide answers. If you have any questions, email us. We'll help you so you can be prepared for Monday. Just a little heads up, though. This is not going to be on the test on Monday. So if you don't understand this, that's totally okay. All right, guys and gals, Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Sayonara.